Well, welcome back, and what we're going to do during this particular video, this is the second of 4 videos looking at what is a project. And during this, we're going to look at the project management landscape and see what are the components in that landscape, what are the dimensions, and what criteria do we use to build that landscape. So as we look at this, the author proposes a pretty intuitive view of the project landscape, and one that I endorse. So it's looking at this idea of when you're sitting down and looking at a particular project, do you understand, is the goal clear or not clear? And is the solution to that goal clear or not clear? And that creates this kind of 4-quadrant approach to looking at projects, and then having a different model associated with each of those different quadrants. And so let's peel this back a little bit more, but here's the kind of overarching, the big picture. You really need to only remember goal and solution, and is it clear or not clear? And then that will help you classify projects into one of 4 different quadrants. All right, so let's look now at some examples of these 4 quadrants. So let's start with quadrant 1. In this particular case, we're going to upgrade our desire to learn Brightspace to the latest version. Is the goal clear? Oh, very clear. Is the solution clear? Actually, yes, it's very clear. Okay, so this is a quadrant 1 type of activity. Should be able to do this very straightforward, build out all of the requirements, and then execute that. All right, let's look at a quadrant 2 activity. So in this particular case, the goal is clear, but the solution is not. And the example that I've got there is in the mid-90s, I was in Korea, and we were using a particular command and control system. The commanding general of 2nd Infantry Division didn't like it. He thought it had some challenges, so he contacted the folks back in Washington that were responsible for that project and said, here's some suggestions to improve it. The programming team welcomed the suggestions, thought they were great ideas, and asked or committed to the general that they would get all of those things in place in about 2 years. The commanding general told them, and there are only 10 commanding generals in the Army, so pretty senior official, said, look, I'm only in command for 2 years. I can't wait 2 years for these things. I need this in like 6 weeks. And programming team was very polite, but there was no way they were going to be able to make all those changes in that period of time. So the commanding general came back. He literally kicked one of the terminals off of a desk and turned to me, told me to lock them all up, all of the terminals associated with that command and control system around the Army, and to build a new system. And it was to be a command and control system that was easy to use and met the needs for commanding a division of about 18,000 men and women. All right, so was the goal clear? Yeah, the goal was actually pretty clear in terms of what his expectations were for this particular project. How about the solution? Oh, not at all. This was going to require a lot of learning by the project team and a lot of learning by the client in terms of what was in the realm of the possible and not in the realm of the possible for obtaining that goal. So that's an example of a 2nd quadrant chart. Learning is going to have to take place, and client involvement is going to have to take place for this project to move forward. And that's what led to this particular project. Let's move up now to, in this case, a quadrant 3 activity. So the goal is not clear and the solution is not clear. Okay, so in this particular case, we're going to look at drug research and development associating with a drug to cure a particular form of cancer, let's say skin cancer. So here, the goal really is not that clear because it's unclear how you're going to work all of this out and the timelines associated with that, how much money this is going to take. and the solution is not clear. All right, and it may in fact lead that you do build a solution, but it's a $10,000 solution to a $1,000 problem, or to put it in the case of drugs, it's a $10 trillion solution to a $1 million problem. So a great risk and uncertainty associated with those kind of quadrant 3 tasks. Again, the goal is not really clear. The solution is not clear. You don't even know if the goal is achievable. And then let's now shift over to an example where the goal is not clear and the solution is clear. Now, this is a little paradoxical, and it may take you a little bit of time to get your head wrapped around this. But the idea here, post-it notes are a good example. The internet in 1993. Radio frequency identification systems when they first came out. Everybody knew that these were going to be great solutions. It was unclear in what business context those solutions were going to provide business value. So when post-it notes came out, again, it was a solution in search of a problem. RFID, radio frequency identification, a solution in search of a problem. 1993, the internet, within the larger scale, a solution in search of a problem. They had built a solution for a very narrow problem, but everybody recognized the potential here. One might argue that data scientists are an example of a solution in search of a problem. So what I've tried to do during this kind of examination of this 4-quadrant system is give you some examples of real-world projects that fit into each of the quadrants. And you'll see as we progress through the course, we're going to come back again and again to this simplistic map of a project landscape because it is so applicable to what we're doing in IT project management, and it helps you kind of figure out what project management life cycle you're going to use, and then what approach within that project management life cycle is going to be appropriate. All right, let's move on and look at a couple of definitions before we finish up this video. So a program is going to be a collection of related projects that share a common goal. All right, so you've got projects under a program, and a portfolio is going to be a collection of projects that share some common link to each other. So they're related terms, one of which is projects that have a common goal or purpose, another they share some common link to each other. And there are a couple of examples here that are provided. Well, guess what? This brings us to the end of the second of 4 videos looking at what is a project. During this video, we examined the project landscape, which was really the key component of the video. And then we provided 2 auxiliary definitions so that you've got them and are able to use those in a kind of business setting. It's kind of nuanced. You got to be careful in how you use those terms. All right, next video is going to look at the scope triangle and talk about the trade-offs associated with the scope triangle. Keep on learning, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.